I move that the question be now put.
I'll call Pete Hodson. Hasn't had a call.
Parliament's the shop window of democracy, and since this morning the opposition has been parading its distress at the process by which we are passing taxation legislation. And it may well be that if anyone is listening to this, they will be confused as to why we are resistant to the process. And the answer lies in the complexity of the legislation. No legislation, except exceptionally, should bypass a select committee, but taxation legislation in particular. It is astonishingly difficult. It's famously difficult. And parliamentarians are kind of ordinary people. There are no tax experts amongst us, and so we seek to give that the scrutiny that is needed with the assistance of experts. And that's how taxation law is made and has been made forever. For those folk who are listening, here's some indication of the complexity. We're looking at part 3 of a piece of legislation. There is a large supplementary order paper, which is as large as the bill itself, in fact slightly larger, which has been put into the mix without going through a select committee, so the bulk of the legislation has not been subject to a select committee. Let me quote a little bit from this bulk, this supplementary order paper, this bits of amendments. And almost randomly, I'm just going to quote from clause 79B on page 63 of the supplementary order paper, and I'm referring to the principal legislation, section 42B. It just says simply, returns by this is the chapeau, returns by look-through companies and owners of interests. So now let's read the English that follows that. This section applies to persons who have effective look-through interests for a look-through company and to their look-through company. So now let's see what an owner of a look-through company looks like. I need to briefly go back to part 2, Mr. Chairman. I'm sure you will allow me. Here is what an owner of a look-through company is. A person who has an effective look-through interest for a look-through company has a deduction to the extent in which a deduction results from the application of subpart HB brackets look-through companies close brackets to them and the look-through company full stop.
Oh, right. Well, there you go.
Shall I read that again?
Yeah, you might need to.
Here is what owners of look-through companies means. A person who has an effective look-through interest for a look-through company has a deduction to the extent to which a deduction results from the application of subpart HB brackets look-through companies close brackets to them and the look-through company. It's more a mirror than a look-through, suggested my non-learned accountant colleague, Trevor Mallard. And I think that is a prescient remark. A prescient remark. Now, if we take that prescient remark and return to part 3, clause 79B, amended section 42B, subclause 1, and I'll read you out another wee bit of English. We've read it out before, but we're going to have it again. This section applies to persons who have effective look-through interest for a look-through company and to their look-through company. Then we can see, I'm not sure what. And that's really the point. That's really the point. I could go to any other part of this legislation, take it out of context, because that's what I'm doing. I know it's unfair, but that's what we're invited to do because we're presented with the amendments, not with the parent legislation, not with the amendments of the SOP put into the original amendment bill. That's the whole point. SOPs are out of context. That's how they're designed. The explanatory note of an SOP is non-explanatory. It is a codified English of what's going on clause by clause. I mean, I'll give you an example of the explanatory note, but only briefly, Mr. Chairman, because that's not part of the bill. Randomly on page 68, well, I suppose we'll just pick the same old thing, will we? New clause 42BAB amends Section HG12 of the Income Act 2007, consequential of the introduction of look-through companies. You get the point.
I'll call Stuart.